Time for the losers bracket, everybody. Tomb of the Spider Queen is our first map as Gunnars on goes up against the Hardos. Another best of 5. It's going to be the end of the road for one of the two teams here. And I would still favor the Hardos despite the star power that we have on the blue team. They have been struggling a bit more than the Hardos here. And the Hardos are just more consistent, let's put it like that. Hardos have been more consistent in general. And Gunnars on, they have to prove themselves, but the one thing that you can definitely say about the blue team is they have some insane calls. Some of the calls in the previous matches of Gunnars on were just clean. Just absolutely clean. And I want to see if that is enough now for them to grant them a victory over the Hardos, but this is obviously expected to be a series that is quite contested. Now, we have bans on Kerrigan. And also Junkrat. The Kerrigan ban this early is honestly a bit of a surprise. I mean, don't get me wrong, they played Kerrigan previously, but I would have more so expected Gunnars on to ban out Kerrigan against someone like Nick than the other way around. Gunnars on has played Kerrigan multiple times in Tomb of the Spider Queen in the course of the qualifiers and here in the playoffs. But it's not really the one here that I would be afraid of the most, so that's interesting. They're going for Maiev as well, so they're banning out some of the melee assassins and want to play out the game a bit differently. That leaves a lot of the supports that are usually banned up on the map, and also Vala, of course, up for grabs. With the first pick on the side of the Hardos, Gunnars on now has to decide which hero they want to eliminate for sure. Oftentimes it's a ban on Stukov or other supports that we're seeing here. But this is a good start into the game. And there's the Lucio ban. Alright. So Lucio banned. What's the first pick? Are we gonna get a support? Is it something like Stukov? Or are we gonna get a Vala pick? Or do they go down a completely different path here? Which is also, again, possible. But if the meta that we saw evolve over the last couple of matches still holds, then yeah, it's kind of likely that we get something like this. A Stukov pick early on. The hero just enables so many different compositions that it is just... I mean, again, you can go for a sniper composition. He is really good against a lot. Like, Stukov is just all... Like, generally, he is insanely flexible in terms of what you can play, but he's also super strong against any kind of composition on the other side that needs coordination. If you get a good lurking arm through that interrupts some of the flow, then you can always just counterplay what your opponent is attempting to do here. Now, Poik gets to play Vala again, and we have Breeze on Anubarak. He's been picking him a lot. Maybe even Ruby again on Blaze for the side lane, that would work for them. But with Vala, you always have to consider, do you play with a double support or do you go for Zarya? We've seen only one game so far after this auto attack style for Vala now emerged, where Vala has been played with a single support in these playoffs. And that was between Team Wah and the Chili Donuts, also in Tomb of the Spider Queen, where Dino played Vala with only one support. I think he died once throughout the game, so it wasn't really too bad for him. Only lost 5% of his attack speed that he got through the Gambit talent on level 1. Here comes the Mephisto ban. And given that Gunnars on already played with Zarya once, the question of course is now going to be if the Hardos are going to ban her. Gut feeling would be no. Last time that Zarya was played, it was also Breeze on Garrosh, and they seem to like this double whammy, where on the one hand they can engage with Garrosh and the speed, on the other hand they can save Vala. So is Zarya really worth a ban here, or do they expect a double support instead? Both is totally possible. They go for Blaze, as mentioned before. Blaze was played multiple times by Wooby whenever Breeze picks an Uburak, so that's a really nice ban. I like that a lot. Against Lunara, double support would maybe not be all that bad. Could technically even go for Uther to get an additional stun in with Anubarak leading the charge here. And, well, let's go. Moment of truth. There's Uther. I like it. Uther and Dehaka. And Mene can technically add a second support, or he can go for Zarya now. He might actually pick Zarya. He's the one who played Zarya for them in the previous games. Uther, Zarya with Anubarak and Dehaka. Maybe a second support instead. Okay. And what do we get from Bad Benny and Nick now? There's Hanzo. Honor. And what do we get from Bad Benny? It's Varian again. Alright. He's back to his Varian shenanigans, everybody. And that leaves us with a final pick on the first map of this best of 5 series in the losers bracket of the X Cup Fall playoffs. We get Mena to choose either support or Zarya, I suppose. I guess technically he could go into a second damage dealer, but that would also limit Poik's options a bit. But they could do it. It's a bit more likely that they're adding another support though. And there's Anduin. Mena with Anduin. I guess they might even swap a few things around here, but it's Tomb of the Spider Queen. Map number 1, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go. The first map between Gunnars and the Hardos. Gunnars against the Hardos. Mena on Anduin for the blue team. We have Wubi on the Haka, Poik on Vala, Breeze on Anubarak, and Smexy on Uther. On the right side of the map, Bad Benny with Varian. Nick on Hanzo. We got Yasuo and Stukov with the low blow. Copenhagen and Urel. And Hazorps is playing Lulnara. Alright. I'm intrigued. I've been talking so much about Gunnars throughout this entire tournament that I really want to see what they can do here now against the Hardos. As mentioned before, this is a match that is played out in the lower brackets, so whoever loses this series is out of the tournament and takes 4th place. So if you want to have a chance to reach that grand final and go for the title, you have to win this one. Now, a little bit of a brawl already happening here in the middle. I like also that we have Tomb of the Spider Queen as our first map. It's actually a real fun one. One of the best maps of the Hardos, just in general. They're already poking this out here a bit. With the Wisp, you have some added vision. Wubio, of course, has some nice CC that he can add to what Anubarak already provides. And let's not forget about our boy Uther, who can always help out here too. And then moving down to the bottom of the map with a double support to try and take a tower or 2 down, I suppose. A lot of this is going to hinge on Poik, obviously. Went into the auto-attack style as expected. I mean, these days you can still go multi-shot, but especially if you're going into a double support, you want to go for Creed of the Hunter. For the longest time, it was pretty much Blizzard's IQ test. If you saw anybody run around with Creed of the Hunter, you definitely knew immediately that they didn't know what they were doing. But now, after the patch, that talent is all of a sudden useful. Yep. And she's been played a lot. Now, they're doing some damage in the middle of the map too. So the red team has given up on trying to take the Siege Giants, but they're starting to lose some of the infrastructure at the bot lane. The side wall being opened up is now allowing them to attack anybody that is behind it quite easily, and also grants vision, of course. So they're starting to make that play. Still no gems turned in, but both of them eager to grab a few more. We already have Yasuo. Could get stunned out here by Breeze pretty easily. Misses that Impale though, but here comes the move for Copenhagen. Siege Giants are down. Wubi is left alone topside and can now rotate between the lanes and get the remaining gems together. And the Hardos, they're back to business here as well. Starting to move towards the top. 3 heroes remain at the bot lane, trying to keep the lane safe. Early level 4 now for the blue team. So we're going to get the bed of barbs. And of course it's time for the taunt. Time for the taunt right now on level 4, and that's where a lot of the options open up for the Hardos. They can make way more aggressive plays now around Varian initiating and attempting to set up a kill. After the Siege Giant cap has been claimed earlier, we are, in addition to that now, have both of the teams making a play for the Bruiser camp. Bad Benny also starting to turn in a bit. So we have at least 5 gems delivered. We could do the same thing here. Poik didn't get a chance to get a lot of stacks yet. By the way, the money picks are glorious in this one. The money picks are absolutely glorious. Everybody on the blue team is riding in style, or at least most of them. And now on the right side of the map, yep, there it is. Mercenary camp has been locked in as well, and we're gonna get some action in the mid lane. I want to see some fights, boys. I really do. I want to see which team takes the lead here. Gunnars on with a star power. The Hardos. They are already bursting Poik down a bit. Poik can't die. This is a big thing. You have the Gambit component. If Vala dies too many times, then she's going to lose a lot of that auto attack speed that she holds. And in the late game, that's of course going to be a bit of a downside. Doesn't mean that you're going to lose the game for sure, but she's not going to be that powerhouse that you want her to be once that you head into level 20 with Farfly Quiver, and even before that, obviously. So for Poik, it's going to be important to get these little skirmishes where he can get those auto attacks woven in and get those stacks on level 1. Yeah, again, the hoppity hop here. Even Wooby is moving in, looking for a chance to get a drag. Urella still at the bot lane. 18 gems delivered by the blue team. And there's the level 7 talents. Hand of freedom! There we go. Oh, protection, sorry. The freedom is here! The freedom is here. That's Urel. That's Urel. And the Haka is down. The Whoopster dies first. What? Wooby dead, and the level 7 gives us the growing infestation. Blizzard's sexual innuendo on Stukov. But, well, now that we have our level 7, it's obviously a hot pursuit time for Vala. So she's in the spot where she can now start to build those hatred stacks a little bit differently. Also get the desperate prayer here for Anduin. And the Haka getting attacked again at the top. Hazops with one quick hit with a spear after another. And the slows that brings with it is obviously quite helpful for them. Poik is finally getting a few auto attacks in, so he's at 33 right now, 34. Works them in against Copenhagen, provides a little bit of vision too, and gets him closer and closer to the first reward on his level 1 talent. Top side still our global, playing it out with the wave clear, so Wooby is doing what he can. And we have seen only one kill. Not a single web weaver yet. We're 5 minutes into the game, and there it is. The red team turns in first. It just feels like they have a bit more control over the game right now. Nothing too insane just yet. But we'll see if with the web weavers now they can take some of the structures down. Maybe crush through one of the walls. Take a fort down. It's gonna be very important that they get the defense here. Wooby! Trying to predict the tongue a little bit and couldn't. Is now attempting to body block as it seems, and they're isolating Bad Benny. But of course it's Stukov in the backline again that really helps the tank out, but there's just too much happening here. And Varian finally dies. It buys some time for the web weavers, but with Varian down, the blue team can now start to focus much more on the defense. They already have Vala in the middle, the Haka has moved towards the top, and that's the first kill for Gunnars on in this series, on this first map. So, Mena, he needs to help Smexy out, who's on Uther at this point. We still have Vala, not with the team, 54 stacks for her, and that fort is getting crushed. Absolutely murdered. So yes, they lost Varian, but they're still getting a fort. So, it looks pretty good for the Hardos right now. Getting with your first web weaver wave, with your first objective, immediately a fort despite losing Varian, I call that solid. And we have the meme strike for Hanzo. We also have the poke for Girl. Lunara went into Thornwood Mines so she can poke from a distance. Obviously it limits her ability to reposition herself during the team fights a little bit and to drop the single target damage, but still it's a really nice talent for her to have and adds a bit more wave clear too. We have at the same time now the light bomb for our boy Anduin. And Ubera can dive in with that. Plus the Divine Shield, good for Vala. And even a few more stuns. Reign of Vengeance is ready for them too. So we'll see what they can pull off with their first turn, because it's kind of likely that Wooby is now able to lock that in. And as I say it, Copenhagen moves in. Nick already interrupted twice. And that might actually prevent it for quite some time. But Wooby delivers the gems. He is still 11 short from a first turn-in though. Yeah. And, well, 22,000 damage for Hanzo, 11,000 for Vala. Poik at half the damage of Nick. Half the damage right now. So, yeah, that's a bit crazy. Didn't really get a whole lot of chances to get kills out. But he also didn't die yet, and late game again is what's most important in this situation. So, for now, we have at the top side, Urel putting some pressure onto the fort down here. Nice pull. But, oh, you could see how quickly Poik dropped. But with both of the supports being around to help him out, he got topped off very, very quickly too. 8 minutes into the game and the Hardos are still pushing. They're playing the macro just a bit better than Gunnars on. And the fort is in trouble, gets pushed back here very quickly, and that would be the second outer structure that gets destroyed. The fountain is already gone, and that in and of itself is already a bit bad. But there comes the silence, and they just can't kill her. The Space Goat still in danger, though. Urel might still fall if they just can follow up a little bit. And no, the timing is so off. Breeze gets the Divine Shield. He nearly died. It was a nice move from Yasuo and Stukov to make sure that he can't simply dive out of this battle. But there's the turn in. The red web weavers, they got summoned again. And the Hardos, they take the second fort. The web weavers at the bot lane get also pushed in a bit deeper by Urel as she eliminates the minion waves. And Varian is already topside to try and take the remaining fort down. Nice advantage now for the Hardos. They're really building up momentum here. And they might even get a kill. They're going for the Haka, and there's the taunt. But Anduin paid attention. It's actually kind of hilarious that Anduin is one of the best counters against Daddy. So, yeah, Varian, whenever he goes for the taunt, Anduin is just sitting there and he just goes and pulls the target back out. But all 3 forts have now been eliminated, and the Hardos, they have them a bit in a chokehold. So, Gunnars, they are having problems. They are just sitting there, and I mean, there's very little plays that are being initiated by them. That's the problem. They are reacting mainly to what the Hardos are doing here, and they are struggling to get a foothold and establish a good position. We are now 10 minutes in, and Poik, for example, is sitting at 80 stacks. That's it. They get their level 13, so they can fight back now, but they need the turn-in. Now they have a ton of gems. They have 91 gems, which means it's an easy double turn-in. I mean, technically, if they get a turn-in now, they could try to go for 3 turn-ins in a row if they pick up a few gems while all of this happens. That's definitely within the realm of possibilities. But they need to make that move. Now, the impressive thing about Gunnars is always that even when they looked like they were far behind, why is Polk running into this? Alright? So, yeah, Poik actually ate the entire meme strike. I mean, it was probably a little bit better than dodging out down to the bottom and then running straight into the entire red team, but still, that was a really good ult also from Nick. It just drove a huge wedge between the players on the blue team, but they really need a move now. 107 gems, and guys, once that level 16 is in, this is just gonna get more crazy. They really need that turn-in. And currently, it just doesn't look like they're going to make a big play for it. Obviously, it's much easier for the Hardos to defend the middle, too, because they still have fountains everywhere. I mean, again, everything in play in the top lane, in the middle, same picture. Down at the bottom of the map, fountain is also still standing, so they need a kill and they need it quickly. They go for what, Benny? Good isolation, but the problem is still that Yasuo is always ready. He's always there when he needs to be, and drops that lurking arm that just screws up the timings and ruins the play. And now they're so close to level 16 that the blue team turning in might not even help them. They need to try and get kills. They got the web weavers, but the level 16 talent will give an advantage to the Hardos. Now, that meme strike was a bit of a meme. I mean, that one did nothing. That one was that one really useful? Yeah, again, exactly. I didn't think so either. The idea might have been to just go for a taunt and then use Hanzo's ult, but that obviously didn't work out. Now the web weaver in the mid lane gets bursted away. Urel is at the bottom, by the way, taking another one down. So the only thing that's still remaining for Gunnars is the top. But they're not even fighting here, and the reason is obvious. They don't have level 16. So they're just simply sitting there and they're saying, guys, play it slow. Play it slow, play it easy, don't overextend, just wait for 16, then try to get the second turn in. They bought themselves a little bit of time and freedom on the map with this. That's pretty much what they bought. And that's worth a lot too. But I like what the Hardos are doing now. The Hardos, they're looking topside, they see a boss, they have 16 still available to them, and they're like, alright guys, let's go. And this might mean that we're now seeing a second objective for Gunnars and it's simply being traded. And that's another problem. Whoopi is gonna try isolation, and Nubarak is here too. They're fighting for it. They're fighting for it, and that could be a huge problem now for the Hardos, but Nubarak dies first. And Nubarak dies first. There's the Divine Shield. Main is in trouble. Light Bomb is in. And Lunara is dead, but the boss is taken. Big save on Whoopi, but it doesn't matter because Hanzo and Urel both jump after the Haka and they take him down. Vala with another stack and the kill, but she's isolated and Poik dies. That's 4 kills in total against Gunnars Only Mene is surviving, and Andring throwing a bit of light at the boss is not going to help them, is it now? Mid lane gets attacked by the web weavers. Same picture at the bottom. At least one of the forts is going to fall, but the keep topside is in trouble. 104 stacks now for Vala. Manticore is finally in. The one death cost him 5% of his attack speed. That boss battle could have been the ticket back into the game for Gunnars on, but the Hardos played it a little bit too well. And Stukov once more played such a huge role here. His lurking arm is absolutely crucial in a situation like this and made it nearly impossible for Gunnars on to move on to the point. They tried and they paid the price. Of course, a lot of gems were also lost in that last encounter. The only one that still has a few is Mene, and, well, newsflash, 7 gems just don't cut it. So they lost a lot, and now they're only... I mean, the only thing they can do is pretty much fight. That's the one thing they can still try and do. Try and fight, and not like this. No! Beautiful! That's how you snipe an Uburak. That was just well done. I mean, kudos to the Hardos. That was clean. That was incredibly clean. A poke, an engage, taunt, follow-up from Stukov, and that's an easy kill. 2 levels ahead, 3 kills ahead. The Hardos, they're looking strong. They're looking very, very strong here. They will get level 20 for this push. 1 keep is already gone, and the Hardos are obviously looking to end the game and take the lead in this best of 5 in the losers bracket. 60,000 damage for Hanzo. Vala is only at 27. Vala is only at 27,000 damage. Great drag on Lunara though. But they cannot get the kill. Yasu with a big slap. And now Vala is dead. They nearly killed Hazorbs, but then the entire red team came together. They have the level 20 talents, of course, which give them a huge lead here. But still, Lunara surviving and Vala dying a few moments later is a disaster, an absolute disaster. Here comes the meme strike again. The cooldown reduction is obviously king at this point. And we have 7 kills to 3, 2.5 level of an advantage. They go for the core, and there is just nothing that Gunnars on can do anymore at this point. This is going to be a big W for the Hardos. First map of this match goes to them. The red team successful on Tomb of the Spider Queen as the Hardos drop Gunnars on, and we move on to map number 2. Before we head into game number 2, make sure that you subscribe to the channel if you haven't done it yet so you don't miss out on any future content here on Khaldor TV. Battlefield of Eternity! It is game number 2. Gunnars on against the Hardos. And well, guys, we got a pretty dominant Hardo team doing fairly well in game number 1. Now, it's a best of 5, obviously, so we can expect Gunnars on to fight back here, but I have to say that the Hardos, they just look like a well-oiled machine, and it's tough for Gunnars on to go up against that. That Anuburak kill that we highlighted in the first game was a bit symptomatic to what was just happening. It was a very clean kill, perfectly executed with good timing, good synergy and coordination from the Hardos, and for Gunnars on, it was just one of these moments where they were hoping to somehow get a foothold in the game, somehow establish a presence, and then maybe taking the initiative, and it got shot down very quickly. So that was quite unfortunate. Now we have Zarya banned against Mene. It's Battlefield of Eternity after all, and we had Gunnars on already play not only with Vala, but also with War Chief Boy. Garrosh, exactly. So with Garrosh, and they just want to shut that attempt down from the get-go. Vala is still up, so is Stukov. And Stukov ruined a lot of their games, and that's why it's now picked away. I like it. So yeah, it's actually kind of crazy. Stukov has such a huge impact. I understand why Lucio gets banned, but at the same time, when I look at the impact that the two heroes have, I would always say that Stukov is just a priority there. And if you remember the tournaments in Korea and in China that we casted, Stukov was pretty much a perma-ban for good reason. So Blaze and Hanzo are now being taken, and yeah, it's looking like we're going to get an interesting match for sure, especially since Vala hasn't been picked yet, so I expect it to still be picked up. And technically, Gunnars on could say, you know what? We're going to go for the Vala double support again. I mean, Vala double support is one of the strongest combinations that you can currently play, but of course it always matters a bit what your opponent is trying to throw against it. And they go for Nuburak and for Li Ming instead for now. So we got Stukov as a follow-up on a Nuburak's engage. And then we have Poik with the damage on Li Ming. An oldie but goldie. So yeah. Urel gets banned. That's the Booby respect ban right there. They already picked this Blaze away, so they just said, Space God, it's not gonna happen. I'm not gonna give you there. And, well, last ban for this map. It's gonna be an important one. For Gunnars on, winning here would be important. Again, if you fall behind with an 0-2 in a best of 5, you can always do a reverse sweep and come back, obviously. But it's really tricky to pull that off. So they ban Lunara. They don't want to give Make the opportunity to shine with that hero again. And as I say that, I realize that Make is not playing. So, yeah. I meant Hazu. Played it already earlier, but yeah. I don't even know why I'm thinking Make, but Make has played Lunara now so many times within the last 3 days that I automatically connect Lunara somehow to him, but he's obviously not the only one that played Bambi. Here comes Sylvanas, haven't seen her in a while, and we get Anduin. The pretty boy over here. False set for Mena. Maybe even Cocoon into Gust. Could try and go for some isolation here. Okay. And Whoopi, of course, the last pick. Side lane! What's the Whoopster gonna do now? As we're heading into battlefield. And it is... Dehaka! Once again. I mean, the 3 heroes that he plays the most right now are definitely Blaze, Urel, and Dehaka. So those are the 3 that he's rotating through most of the time. For good reason. I mean, he's insanely strong on all of them. Last pick. Bad Benny! We need a frontline. We need a tank for them now. This is gonna get dirty. Gunnars on, they really need to take the initiative here. We get Diablo and Blaze for the front line for the Hardos. Gunnars on is gonna try to put a point onto the scoreboard on Battlefield of Eternity. Let's head into game number 2 of the best of 5. Game number 2. Let's go. Can Gunnars on come back? Or are the Hardos extending their lead? Main is playing Falstad, going straight in for the Hammerang with a bit of stacking. Poik on Liming, so they swapped heroes over again. We got Breeze on Anubarak. Smexy on Stukov this time, trying to give the Hardos a taste of their own medicine. And Whoopi with Dehaka. Hazops is playing Sylvanas for the red team on Battlefield. We have Yazu on Anduin. Nick on Hanzo. Diablo played by Bad Benny on level 1 with a Soul Shield, and Blaze played by Copenhagen. And it seems like everybody is taking a bit of a closer look towards the top lane this time. So what can they pull off here? Alright, now we have... It's a trap! Admiral Akbar moment, but Whoopi is not falling for it. At least not just yet. So the blue team is still positioning themselves between the 2 lanes. They have Falstad at the bottom. But yep, there we go. They try to go for the Sylvanas push, and the Gunnars on is more or less ready. So they're able to stop it in its tracks. More or less. I mean, they lose half the tower, but they at least don't lose the entire thing. If you have a Sylvanas against you and you don't know where she's hitting, that can of course always be a bit of a problem. That's why she's such a huge asset too. If you do something like that against a team that doesn't know what's coming, you can maybe even take an entire wall down before they react properly. But as it stands, half a tower is all they got. Rotation to the bot lane is therefore inevitable. The normal 4 and 1 split. But they go for the camp. The 1 minute mark has already passed, so the camp's up on the map. And here's the play for the first Khasras. Party time. Yeah. And Zmene and his boys. There comes Dehaka using the global. It's a 5 versus 5 now. They're trying to fight for it. It's team fight city at this point. Last game, they had problems. Now they go for the lurking arm with Stukov, and it's a huge problem for Copenhagen. But everybody is low, and the cockroach is the first one to fall. Breeze is down, and another win. A big win here for the Hardos. They take the camp, they take the kill. They have the lead and the experience now, and with the help of Sylvanas, they can push this a bit further. Once again, they're trying, and they can't make the play. Ooh, Benny, careful. Even with Sylvanas, should be cautious before he just charges into tower range here. But as you can tell, they are doing work. They nearly destroyed the first tower. They might just be... No, not quite, but yeah, getting close. So we already have a lead for the Hardos before the objective spawns. It's going to be announced in 10 seconds. So there's a bit more time left before both of the teams have to go for the Shaman camp and set that en route. But again, first objective is going to tell us a lot. That's already a small advantage for the Hardos. It's nothing where you can really say, okay, they're going to take the game now. But obviously, it's one of these things where you get these small edges over your opponent time and time again. They add up. If the first Immortal is also being won by the red team, then things might become very difficult for Wooby and his team. So as it stands, we currently have our little setup here. Wooby is at the top locked into a 1 versus 1. Both teams have taken their Shaman camp. Down here, we have the fight for the blue team's Immortal. And they are doing their thing. Bad Benny with a quick attack, and they're dropping this thing low. Guys, this is a halftime show in the making. But a stun into an Immortal stun. Maybe they can go for him. Copenhagen. How? Did Wooby miss the tongue? He must have missed it. I really thought that Blaze would die. The second he got stunned by the Immortal and Dehaka came in, I thought he would fall for sure. But instead, we now have the halftime show victory for the Hardos. Wooby is coming in again. Tries for another drag, gets stunned out, they go for Benny, maybe no, yes, here's the kill. There it is, well done, and also a really, really good move by Stukov, of course. Smexy positioning the lurking arm just perfectly. Diablo had no other chance but move into it, and that was his demise. They're gonna lock it in. They're gonna lock it in. That fight helped them a lot here. Obviously, the shield is not going to be crazy, but at least they win the first objective with 3,300 hit points on the shield still remaining. And that was well done here. So here comes the move up towards the top side. The objective is going to move through the top lane. We're going to have that Immortal try and burn things down here. Obviously, as long as the shield is still active, the Immortal is going for the ranged attack, and then after the shield gets dropped, we'll move into melee mode, which makes it much, much easier for the Hardos to burn it down. Level 7 talents for both teams now. That gives us the subterranean shield and the growing infestation once again. But they won't be able to get too much. If they can get the fountain, I would call that a win. Here comes Dibbles, and he dives deep. He's not the only one. Blaze gets licked by Wooby. He was trying for jet propulsion, and that got interrupted quickly. But now that the entire team is fighting on the left side, the Immortal had a bit more time to go for the fort and took it down to 60% HP. But the fight continues, and Wooby is a bit low. Sylvanas is diving in deep as well, and Hazu gets immediately punished by Mene, who also gets attacked. Everyone super low, but nobody dying in that encounter. Both of the teams now on level 7. Up at the top side, we get the next camp attacked. Gunnars on against the Hardos. The blue team definitely doesn't want to lose this one. They want to make sure they don't have to win 3 in a row to move to the next round of the tournament. And since this is a loser bracket, whoever loses this series is out. Whoever loses this series is out. Gunnars on, therefore they know this is their only chance to advance. Wooby comes in once again and tries for the drag and gets it. Gets it straight into the lurking arm, and goodbye Benny. Benny is gonna die right here, right now. The second time that Diablo bites the dust. Down for the count, only at 75 stacks. Bottom of the map, that's where Blaze is currently positioned and tries to break through the wall. But yeah, this is getting a bit bananas here. And if this continues, I can already guarantee you that we are seeing some Stukov bans incoming. Stukov in game number 1 was hugely impactful. Yasuo played him incredibly well, but also the kit of the hero allowed for so many kills, and it allowed Yasuo to shut down a lot of plays on the side of Gunnars on too. Now Smexy is doing pretty much the same thing. So the Hardos, I don't think they're going to like that a lot. And with Stukov being a consistent first pick, I think we can find ourselves with a few Stukov bans starting game number 3. Yeah, that feels bad for Mene. Does all the work and then he gets stolen away. Hardos moved in, they say like, thank you very fucking much, and they just take it. The drag barely misses. Great jet propulsion though. Hits 3 targets with it. Smexy doing his thing again, but Mene is suffering a lot. Every time Sylvanas is moving in for the damage, it's starting to become a bit of a problem for the birdie. So Falstad, he doesn't want to end up in the KFC basket. Here's the next little move towards the top. Okay, can they take something here? No, doesn't seem like it. We have Hardos already dropping this one down to 50% with Sylvanas. And of course, Sylvanas is going to empower any push. Every time that they can come in with Sylvanas and the Immortal, they can simply disable some of the structures and try and take him out. Mene can then try and counterplay with his Gust that he just locked in and buy them a bit of time. But that's about it. By the way, we have the chance for Arrow into Apocalypse. And yeah, the Hardos are getting really aggressive around the Immortal. And Gunnars on, they need kills or they're gonna have a problem. Yeah, they're going for the Haka. They can't get that. Benny isolated, the drag. Diablo is simply a punching bag in this game. But he's a willing punching bag. He has tons of hit points, and guess who doesn't? It's the birdie. Falstad is down, back into the KFC basket. Chicken wings for dinner, baby. The bird is down, and now we have a big Immortal shield for the Hardos. They can try, I mean, they should be able to take that top 4 down without any problems whatsoever. We're talking 50-60% on the shield. So that should be an easy lock for them. And they start to take a slight advantage now. 22,000 damage for Nick on Hanzo. Playing that out again. The Haka is this time at the bottom of the map against Blaze. If he moves topside and forces a 5 versus 4, maybe they can do something. But that 4 doesn't stand a chance. And they know it too. Of course they do. Sylvanas, by the way, has roughly the same amount of damage that Hanzo has so far. So yeah, also doing fairly long here. But in comes the play for the top keep. And Sylvanas is going to do her thing again. Trying to disable the towers here. Big arrow. There's the mind control. And he survives. Breeze is still alive. Yeah, Mene with a nice play here with the Mighty Gust. Keeping everybody in the game. Still the Haka at the bottom of the map. Hasn't moved in. Everybody's just defending. And the Haka is trying to get extra experience for the team. Which he definitely did. So they're closing that gap quickly. They saved the keep. And that's all that they really needed to do here. Didn't have to force the fight. But I also like the idea of the arrow straight into the mind control. Everybody was clustered up behind the gates. They went for it. And they nearly got a drop on an Uberak. And if Breeze dies in that situation, they can push this much harder and maybe drop the keep itself. So now as it stands, topside gets attacked again. We got 2 kills against 2. Fairly even still. But one team is running the show right now. And that is once more the Hardos. They are going straight up for the camps. Locking them in. Actually, now that I think about it, how many has... they got some. Actually, Gunnars got more camps than I expected. They locked a few of them in earlier. And of course, they got their Shaman camp now twice. So that's good for them. But yeah, the difference in experience that you see between the two teams is nothing too crazy. Especially in the minion experience, they're nearly identical. And that just shows you that the Haka did a good job soaking those side lanes during the onslaught at the top side. Level 13 talents now for the 2 of them. And Mene already double checking if you can maybe get a good angle on them. Yeah. Quick barrel roll and a gust, that might help. With level 13, we also have the added synergy. 8 hungers for Smexy. Standard by now. And the illusionist, of course, for Liming. And here we go. Immortal is spawning. Each team has lost a fort in this game. So Immortal number 3 is going to give one of the 2 a big lead. Or very likely. And only one has a Shaman camp right now. A bit of a poke is happening by Poik. So the Immortal position is not too bad for them to trying to poke that out. Whoopi is realizing that he's not in a good spot up at the top. But they haven't really figured out where he is just yet, or they would have attempted to drop him. So, here we go. The red team is pushing, once again. They're the ones trying to take the initiative here. Falstad, he's aiming for a good gust spot. Here comes the play against Breeze, and he gets out! He gets out, and Blaze dies. Oh my god. How did he survive that? He got the shield, but check this fight out. Have a look at the Gust and have a look at Breeze. There comes the play with the Apocalypse, and then they are able to save him, and Blaze dies. They need to fall back and heal up, but now they have an opportunity. It's a 5 versus 4 for another 10 seconds, and they can try and make a play for the Immortal, but it's just not working out. They needed to send the Haka to the top to take down the catapults and the Shaman camp. Mene at least tried to push the bot lane a little bit and do damage to the to the fort. But boy, that they couldn't capitalize on that kill, that was annoying. Was great for the Hardos though. And of course, they got rewarded for timing their camp properly. And they even won the halftime show. So things are getting worse for the blue team. They still need to win that fight. They got their ults back. So now they got the Gust once again. There's the drag. Bunker immediately gets used. They're trying to make a play for Bad Benny. Light bomb. Benny hits one. Wooby dodged out on it, but he goes for the isolation. There's the Gust, and they're going for Diablo, and he dies before the arrow of Hanzo connects. But Hanzo is poking this down. Hanzo's poking this down. They could control the choke point here, but it's still unlikely that they're winning the Immortal. So they have to decide what they want to do. They're trying to somehow slow it down while Falstad does the damage on the left side. They get the kills, but they just can't get the objective here. Once more, it gets locked in by the Hardos. Now, the good side is that Gunnars On is all of a sudden holding a pretty significant experience lead over their opponent. They are nearly on level 16. So this defense is going to make much is made much easier by this. They definitely can try and burn that down, especially since Blaze is still up at the top. So unless someone is griefing now, they should be in a decent spot. And that could have been the end of that could be the end of Wooby. It could have been the end of Hazu though. If that drag connects, Hazu is dead. He's absolutely dead. But they go for Diablo again. Diablo, the Lord of Terror. Yeah. Lord of Terror my ass. Weak kitten in this game. Gets killed quite a bit, but look at this engage. Beautiful! Sexy combo right there, and it did nothing. Absolutely nothing. Sexy as hell, but they couldn't get any damage out. Light bomb engage, arrow, apocalypse, everything. The fort fell, the drag. They nearly got Blaze here. God, I love it. Poik dodging out on the mind control and getting the hit in. They're still chasing. They're still trying to chase. But everybody disengages. Oh, and the drag misses again, but he gets the kill. Hazu is down. Whoopi might be able to escape here. He moves out of harm's way and they get Blaze and they go for Diablo. There it is. Easy kills. 3 down, Gunnars On with a big plays. But talking about big plays, let's take a look at that combo. Check this one out and look at Falstad. So here it comes. They go for the combo. Falstad gusted everybody away. And even though all of the stuns connected, they didn't get anything out of it. Super frustrating situation for the Hardos. But Gunnars On with the kills that they just locked in on the bot lane have finally some momentum in this series. They fought hard for that opportunity and they at least get the wall down here. But so many sick plays on both sides, and Whoopi, every time he's trying to move in there from the side, he had so many close calls where he nearly got the drag on either Hazu or someone else, and it would have resulted in a kill because Smexy is just paying attention and is always there with a follow-up. But it took them forever to finally lock the combo in. But now that it worked, they got 3 kills. They have a 1-level lead, 2 forts destroyed on each side, not a single one standing any longer. And especially Diablo is getting punished all game long. Whoopi is connecting these isolations on him. And Mena's isolation moves with Gust, definitely something that we need to point out here too. He's one of the reasons why they were able to do so much throughout this entire game now. So yeah, here we go. The action is ready. And yeah, ready for action with the next Immortal here. Okay, so let's have a little bit of a look what they can actually do at this point, because they're just going to race it down. And this time, the blue team gets the lead. And it's a significant one at that. They are 9,000 hit points ahead. What about the fight, though? It's even talent. Breeze. No, not like this. Mind control. Gust once again. Isolation. Apocalypse. Arrow. And Breeze is dead. Breeze is down. Mena is still trying to fight. 5 versus 4. Whoopi is dead. Quick wall stun by Benny. Dropped him. Bot lane pressure. It's not gonna be enough to seriously threaten the keep. Everybody else is already collapsing onto the blue team's Immortal in an attempt to take it down. That is a big setback for Gunnars On. They had a great position. The halftime show. Such a huge lead for them. And now disaster struck and they are falling behind once again. Huge problem for them here. 17,000 hit points left on the shield. Breeze a little bit over-eager. Put himself... I mean, he literally put himself into a corner. And of course now, with Sylvanas, not only is the keep going to fall, the question is, can they go for war? Level 20 is not going to be ready for either team. But this is a big chance for the Hardos now. Yeah, and Uberak is going to be back. All the ults are up. I guess Diablo might not have his Apocalypse available for when the fight really starts. It's 19 seconds, so they can wait this out. If they're willing to sacrifice a few of the hit points of the Immortal for nothing. But here are the plays. There's the arrow, and nothing. Nothing out of the arrow. Nice reaction this time by the blue team. They're going to lose the keep for sure. There's no doubt about this. The keep is definitely going to fall. The only question is, can they still save the core, stay in the game, and maybe turn things around? Apocalypse is up. Here's the opportunity to make some plays. Obviously delay tactics here from the Hardos. Slap, slap. They try to go for the kill. Light bomb engage already happened. Level 20 any moment now. The core is slowly falling. The shields are gone and they are in trouble. Here comes the play for Dehaka, and Whoopi dies. Whoopi is down. The Hellgate engage on 20. Both of them have their heroic abilities and their storm talents. There's the kill against the support. Stukov is dead. They're trying to turn it on Breeze. Mane is still alive and they're fighting back as best they can. But it's a 5 versus 3 at this point. Everybody is low, but the core is at 55%, and it just doesn't look like they can change it. Breeze nearly dies. It's Li Ming that falls next, though. Once again, an engage, but the game is over, and the Hardos have a 2-0 lead over Gunnars on as we headed to game number 3. Game number 3, Towers of Doom. Boy, that game looked so good for Gunnars on, and then that one fight. They won the halftime show pretty significantly, and then all of a sudden that one engage didn't really work out. Breeze was trying to drive in, get a stun, couldn't get it. The fight turns against him, Nuburak dies, and then with the Immortal, the Hardos are able to end. So a 2-0 lead now, and this might be the last map in the series. I mean, we had some smackdowns in game number 2, day number 2, but maybe this continues here on the final day as well, because right now the Hardos are definitely en route to enter the next stage of the tournament and move on to face off against the Chili Donuts, which would be a rematch, by the way. If the Hardos are able to make it to the next round and play against the Donuts, it would be a rematch of the first round in the winner bracket. Tracer and Junkrat get banned, which means that once again, Stukov is up. Stukov is up for grabs, so is Vala, and Stukov gets picked immediately. So now the big question is, of course, will the Hardos go for Vala composition, yes or no? Most of the time Vala gets picked early on. We have seen a few of the drafts where she made it into the later stages and avoided the third ban, and then got picked towards the end, but pretty rare. This is on the other hand a map where you could also play with Globus, but the Haka is already banned out. Lul Nara instead, and a Blaze once more. Yeah, Blaze is insane. Blaze is just a absolutely crazy strong hero to begin with. And for now, he's reigning supreme here too. They picked him away from Whoopi a few times, they also banned him out. Now UL obviously is still very strong for Whoopi. Now that the Haka is banned and Blaze taken, there's a chance that Whoopi is going to go for UL, which would also be a fantastic pick for Towers of Doom, obviously. There's Vala, and they go for the double support. So Mane with Uther, Smexy with Stukov, they go for the hyper carry Vala once again. And I don't mind. It's a crazy strong combo. I could, on the other hand, now see UL being banned out, and then the question is what Whoopi is going to pick. And obviously, the blue team expect UL to be banned. I think it would be the obvious choice. Or do they target Breeze instead? Yeah, they go for the Anubarak ban. In before he goes for Diablo. As much as he plays Anubarak these days, I can't really help myself. I always look at this and I'm like, yeah, who cares? Anubarak might be a pick that he goes for time and time again, but I personally would be more afraid of the other heroes that he has in his repertoire. If he goes and picks Diablo again, that could be a big problem. So, no Maya for Nick. But I'm a bit more curious what Whoopi is going to play. Because now URL is still open. So you can go for URL if you want to. And what else is really available to him? I guess you could play Leoric here. but I don't really see it. I mean, Leo, you could make that argument. But Urel just offers a little bit more, I suppose. Depends a bit on what gets taken by the Hardos, but they go for Hanzo again. And for Tyrande! Solo Tyrande this time by Yasuo. Nick, by the way, is now playing Hanzo for the 3rd time in a row. Just saying. 3 times in a row on Hanzo. With a ton of damage too. So. Yeah, and Breeze and Wooby, the front line. Diablo Urel? Or do they have something else in mind now? Whoop whoop! Vikings, baby! Credit where credit is due. We get the Vikings! Super strong 4-man now, obviously, but Whoopi with the Vikings. And even though I think we had it once in the qualifiers, that's not something that I really expected. So guys, Bad Benny, the final pick for the Hardos. Game number 3, Hardos against Gunnars on in the last pick for Towers of Doom. It is May at the front line. Let's go, everybody. The 3rd map in the best of 5 series. Game number 3, and it's gonna be good. The Vikings, and Whoopi actually starting off with a Balog focus, going for the explosive attacks here, trying to get a little bit more push power. We have Breeze on Diablo, Mena on Uther, with Smexy on Stukov, and Poik is playing Vala. On the right side on the map, the Hardos, with a 2-0 lead in the best of 5, so this could be the last map. We have Hazorps and Lunara again. Nick on Hanzo, both of them playing these heroes multiple times in this series. Bad Benny on May, Copenhagen on Blaze, and Yasu is playing Tyrande. But yeah, very strong 4-man, and this time we actually don't get the auto-attack build for Vala, and I'm not sure right now if I really like this or not. It's good for the pumpkins. If you really want to have full pumpkin control at the bot lane, you can get those a little bit faster. And I guess just in general, the build didn't get worse. The one reason why the arrow build and the multi-shot build aren't really played all that much anymore these days is because auto-attack is generally just so much stronger. Poik had some problems though, properly stacking it. So there's that. And I guess they just don't want to risk that with deaths on Vala, they will lose control of the game. So Poik just goes for another standard build. They still use him as a hyper carry. They still have a double support together with it. And can of course do a lot of work at the bot lane. The Vikings need to control the experience in the middle and the top. Whoopi is going to do his best here. But the entire idea of running a strong 4-man, in this case with a double support together with the Vikings, is to make sure that 4-man can do some serious work. So that's what you're pretty much looking for. And we'll see if they can pull this one off. They're not really invading just yet. Another hero that we need to kind of watch out for is Yasuo's Tyrande, and I'm always saying that I'm not the biggest fan of a solo Tyrande. But then again, if you think about what they're playing against, there's not really a lot that can threaten Tyrande. She's not going to be afraid of Stukov and Uther. Those should not be able to get even close to her, so the only one that can try and go for an engage is Diablo. Maybe after level 16 we could see the Vikings try and flank in and get a stun set up with a Largen in charge. But generally speaking, Yasuo should be in a pretty decent spot with his Tyrande in this game. This is a good composition for him. And that means that his trade is going to give them a lot of value. And here we go. They're starting to go straight in for a bit of bot lane action, where the pumpkins are taken down right away. Level 4 talents are available for both. And Vala, of course, continues the build as usual when you go for the arrows with a repeating arrow, which is going to help to boost the damage significantly. And Benny, he gets out. Oh god, I would feel trolled at this point. No RNG for the arrows. Gunnars on without a kill. Same is obviously true for the Hardos, don't get me wrong. And the Viking is still doing their thing on all the lanes. And with 3 altars coming up, maybe the Vikings can go for a cheeky one. Hazu is eating a lot of that damage here. So yeah, that double arrow from Poik connected and connected hard. But they opened the entire bot lane up. Couldn't really do much more than that. Here comes another play though against Bad Benny, but it only threatens him. They can't really drop him. But you can definitely tell that now it's a bit of a different pace in the game, right? Because Gunnars On is all of a sudden the team that is trying to be the ones to run the show. They are much more active. They're currently doing their thing here, pushing the bot lane and trying to just simply initiate all of these attacks and not play the reactionary game anymore that they played in game number 1 and in large parts in game number 2. So this is working much better for them. Comes down to the third altar, as usual, with 36 points on the core for both teams now. This has to be the beginning of a reverse sweep if they want to stay in the tournament. And they know that too. But Hazu, he gets the freebie. No, he doesn't! Oh, clutch! Clutch interrupt as level 7 kicks in for the Hardos. And obviously also an additional stack for Gunnars on. There's the level 7. Eric is down. But we still now have the Hand of Protection. And we get the Frost Shot for Vala. And they claim it. They take it. Here's the 4 shots. A little bit too late by Hanzo as he's trying for an interrupt. 32 points on the core against 36 now. And they're also trying to take the camp away. Nicely done at this point. They're looking good. But can they claim the camp? Yeah, that's where Smexio, of course, plays a huge role now with the lurking arm, but he gets interrupted. And Breeze moves away, gets stunned though, and isolated. They body block him hard, and that's the first kill in the game. The Hardos take down Diablo. First blood in the series, in the game. And obviously, well, first blood outside of the Vikings, but Vikings don't really count until too many of them die, you know what I mean. Level 8 and a bit of a leading experience for the Hardos. Uh-oh. Alright, with 2 supports, Vala is safe for now. 14 arrow stacks for Poik. We're gonna take a look at the damage later. But for now, they are finally also getting pushed a bit at the bot lane, as the Hardos are definitely starting to fight back here. Claiming some of those pumpkins. Trying to go for the stun. Nice! And there it is, the kill against Lunara. These follow-ups from Smexy are absolutely on point. And now they're body blocking Bad Benny, or at least they're trying to. Waits for another slide here. There's the stun! Into the wall stun. And Mei is dead. Very nice follow-up by Gunnars on. 2 kills for them. Still the early level 10 though for the Hardos. Yeah, that must be a little bit frustrating. Still behind in experience. But for the Vikings, we now got the spin to win. And Poik is still stacking the hatred here. 18 for him now. Yeah, it's at 18 stacks now on the level 1. The initial damage, if he gets enough, he can really start to chunk targets down with the initial double damage on the repeating arrow. We got the snowball this time. So Avalanche for Mei. With Divine Shield, the arm, Lightning Breath, and also Strafe for the blue team. The stuns, and there it is, the quick cleanse from Uther. Well done. But they're isolating Smexy. They're isolating Smexy. That's a nice play. Yasuo is going for the channel. Has to interrupt it though. Vikings are already going into the mid lane to try and at least get one of the altars. Breeze low again. The Divine Shield saves him, but Mena gets body blocked. The heals are there, but so is the damage. And it's not only Stukov that falls, but Uther as well. They get at least the counter kill on Mei. So it's a 2-for-1 trade. And the Vikings have also channeled the altar in the middle. So it's a pretty intense back and forth between the two teams. At least the Hardos get one of the altars. They're getting the one bot side. And they still hold the lead in experience. I think the more important part is that at this point, mid lane bell tower has suffered so much damage already that the Hardos can more or less take it whenever they want to. And that would give more map control over to the Hardos. But generally speaking, this is at least in the early and the mid game a much more back and forth game than what we've seen so far between the two of them. Yep, there it is, by the way. The bell tower has been taken. Should be a little bit easier to reclaim it now in the middle at least. 65,000 damage by the Vikings. And talking about the Vikings, Eric is dead again. They're still trying to go for the camp here. And Copenhagen is moving in too, and that's a bit of a problem. That's a 5 versus 4, pretty much. Okay, there's the stun. Big ult. Big ult from Nick. Oh boy, that one was crucial. Fantastic stun in the choke point and then the ult. As they're going for the bell tower here, let's take another look at that last encounter. Check this out. What a great stun after the slows came in, and then the ult from Nick murders everybody in its path. Vala dies, so does Stukov. They got the bell tower at the bot lane as a reward. One of the pumpkins travels through. It's another shot fired. Obviously in the mid lane they retook the bell tower that was claimed earlier. But now we have 6 kills to 3. And the Hardos, wow. That engage, that coordination was just beautiful. Big value. Now, level 13 again available for both. It Hungers is in. But it doesn't really seem like Gunnars on is doing too much better now. The early game looked really good, but now that we're in the mid game again, that combo set them back heavily. Poig is also getting hit by a Tyrande here, but he's at 26 stacks now for the level 1. They again make the play for Mei. And Smexy is always ready with it, but they couldn't get another stun. 5 shots fired now through the altar. 26 to 28. The lead in points for the Hardos. But Gunnars on is still trying to fight back. They're hoping for those hits whenever Smexy is able to get his lurking arm in. But they just can't get the kills right now. It's 3 kills to 6 in favor of the red team, and they are sieging up with the bot lane hard. Absolutely willing to defend that bell tower, no matter the cost. Lunara also with more of single target damage potential, so she went for the leaping strike. And this time this doesn't do too much. Nick with a bit of an opportunistic attempt, but there was no stun, there was nothing that really locked them in place. But with half a level missing to 16, they're obviously also trying to buy some time here. Once 16 is there, Gunnars on will have to just wait it out and get experience themselves. Which the Vikings are obviously trying to do now too. So that's another issue. But here we go. Another push through the bot lane. But time again. Time is of the essence. Level 60 talents are soon going to be available, and they're trying to burn this down before that's the case. But the red team is just not giving up on it. And look at Hanzo. He even moved away, locking in the pumpkins for them. And here's the 16 with the pumpkins. They get a bit more experience now too. Mei has by now taken the acclamation. We got the thermal protection. Yeah, and this is going to be very, very annoying for Gunnars on. Because the altar is spawning, and thankfully for them it's only one, right? If you are behind on the bell tower count, then you are happy every single time that there's only a few altars spawning. If that was a triple altar phase already with potentially 15 points taken off their core, Gunnars on would not have liked that even a little bit. A nice double hit by Tyrande here. That owl hit hard. The Vikings can, of course, attempt to interrupt this a bit. Well done by Whoopi, by the way. Juking them out completely. But yeah, he's still interrupting. He's still buying time. And they're going for the attack down here. Poik though, low, Divine Shield. And he wants the kill, and he gets the kill. Well done. They try for the counter, but they cannot lock him down. Hanzo died. Good job. Perfect double stun here from Tyrande, and connects the owl as well. Hazu, by the way, with tons of damage himself here. But they lose the bell tower. And the Vikings delayed the channel on the altar long enough so that only 4 shots are going to be fired. Yep, they finally got it. Olaf was attempting to go for a bit of a Sudoku move to interrupt it again. But here comes the move into the backline. Oh, they didn't get the stun. The large knit charge didn't connect, but they can body block them completely. That's the Warcraft 3 surround right here. Copenhagen with a beautiful jet propulsion though. He died, but he might just have saved his teammate's life. 5 kills to 6, 22 points against 28 on the core. 47,000 damage by Vala, 50,000 by Hanzo. And we have a game on our hands. Gunnars on is fighting. They're fighting tooth and nail to make it back into the game. And that last fight had some epic moments. That bunker and that deny on the large and in charge was so important. By the way, this is again, I said it before as the game started, but this is a really good example of how impactful Tyrande can be when she's not pressured, when there's nobody on the other side that has the mobility to consistently threaten her. Yasuo is playing this perfectly. He's always in the back, he's always staying safe, but the value he gets out of these stuns, the follow-ups on anything that Blaze is doing, for example, or that Mei sets up for him, in addition to the trade value, in addition to the owl, it's just beautiful. So he's doing a fantastic job here. Triple altar phase, maybe the Vikings now, again an asset, can split on the map a little bit more. Down here, they're already burning the bell tower down a little bit further, but I don't think they can get it just yet. Especially now that the pumpkins have also been claimed. But yeah, triple altar phase, spread out on the map. Vikings can do a bit more work. At the top left, we already have them in position, and Whoopi is going to try and delay and interrupt anything that comes his way. Even at the bot lane, that's the case. Yeah. Interrupt with the owl. That's going to happen. And he needs to go for it again. But top left side has been taken. And I'm not sure if they can push into that point. Smexy can. Smexy can, but there's a good position for Copenhagen. Breeze can interrupt, yes, but he's standing in the middle of it. He's eating all the damage. They get the Divine Shield to save him, but he's still in trouble. There comes the Butka, and Breeze is alive. He's alive, and the interrupt came too late. Whoopi cannot get in there in time. 14 points to 24. Whoopi himself at the bot lane with Balog still trying to take the pumpkins down successfully, I might add. But the air is getting a little bit thinner here. It's the comeback map though. And 10 points on Towers of Doom is nothing. 10 points of Towers of Doom, that's a rounding error. 5 kills to 7. Level 18 for the two teams. Even a bit of a lead for Gunnars on. And the ability to take the bot lane. Now, of course, as you can already tell from the minimap, at the top side, this bell tower is going to fall too. But the bot lane is always more important. There's 2 pumpkin camps at the bot lane, only 1 at the top. So the bot lane is always the more important lane to hold. And they are moving immediately here for the camp on the left side. Ooh, this, on the other hand, is then offsetting the balance in this game a little bit after all. Vikings are going to help here. Vikings are definitely going to help a little bit with this, with the retake. But the one thing that we still have to also watch out for are the level 20 talents. And they are now kicking in as we speak. So we already have the Storm talents. And that is, with the Dragon Awakens, a huge asset for the red team. Because the cooldown reduction is, as usual, just magnificent. Intensifying Toxins are now available as well. The retake at the bottom, double retake for Gunnars on. It's going to be a 4 versus 4. As the Vikings lock in the Fury of the Storm. Hellgate is in. And once they claim this, they're going to be fine here. By the way, we have Acrobat. So now that they have Acrobat, the damage of Poik should really skyrocket. Because he has a full arrow build. So he's going to YOLO out a lot of that shit. And against a single target, he's going to be able to do a lot. Yasuo with the channel. Same thing on the left side. Whoopi is eventually going to get that channel in, I suppose. But it's now 6 points to 24. They're down into the single digits. And apparently the red team is willing to fight this one. They're trying to go in for this. And here comes Poik with one tumble after another. Whoopi is trying to channel at the same time as all of this happens. And they're again locked into that choke point. Breeze is trying to position himself a little bit differently. They might have to use the Divine Shield again to keep him alive. And there comes Nick. That cooldown reduction is so crazy right now. Hanzo is going to be such an asset in these fights. And he can control especially this space like no other. Once again, Poik with the damage, trying to get those arrows connected. He's at 40 stacks in total now. But that would be a huge blow to Gunnars on if that altar gets channeled by the Hardos. 6 points is all they have left. The boss got taken earlier by the Hardos. That, of course, added to it. Breeze comes in. Once again, they're trying to control that space, but there's the ult. The ult against Smexy, the ult against Mane. Both of them a little bit low, but once more, the lurking arm. They go for Bad Benny. One of the Vikings is down, and Breeze has to disengage again. But Copenhagen goes in deep for it, and so does Hazu. They try the kill on Smexy, but instead Lunara dies. Lunara dies, so does Blaze. Smexy is alive, and with a strafe, they're looking for more. They want another kill, and goodbye, Hazu. No way. No way he escapes. There's the hit, and there's the kill. Tyrande is down. That's the third one to fall. And now this is the opportunity to get some momentum. This is the opportunity to take a couple of these bloody bell towers down and try to bring it back. There are Hardos. They are in damage control mode. Poik at the top. He's now at 45 arrows, 45 hits on his level 1. They're taking the first one of the bell towers. They got another 25 seconds until Lunara is back. And with the Vikings, they're pressuring down on the bottom of the map. Same time, Breeze going for the pumpkins, taking the first camp, taking the second camp. They need more control. This is the play on Towers of Doom. They're trying to do the best they can to get full control over the map. The boss isn't up. They can't do anything about it. Immediately, the Hardos, in an attempt to retake the top, are already setting up next to the bell tower. But the bot lane is going to get pressured now too. Here we go. At this point, this is going to be the play. 6 to 20 points. That's where we're at right now. 6 to 20. And of course, they're all back, with the exception of Tyrande, but the bottom bell tower falls, and this is going to be the only one that they can hold right now. Couple of pumpkins are going to make it through. 5 to 3 bell towers. Can they hold it? Yeah, one pumpkin. Makes it in. Shot gets fired. They go for Bad Benny. Oh, the jet propulsion. But Poik with a strafe. And he zones them out. Copenhagen, on the other hand, boy, he is a bank. That guy is just always sitting here and just pushing them back. Always the big blob at the front that just dares them to move in a little bit deeper. Another play for him, though. They want to take Copenhagen down. In comes the barbecue. Hellgate to disengage. The stun on Copen, but Blaze is alive. At the bunker, could always have used it, and the 5 shots are fired as the Vikings channel the bottom. 14 to 6. 14 to 6 points right now. Damage output, 100,000 for Hanzo. 87,000 for Vala. And Vala is, of course, still stacking her level 1. The initial damage is going to continue here for Poik. Yeah, it's gonna get a bit crazy. And of course, now the boss is up too. And if you only have 6 points on the core, you need to be very careful what happens around that bad boy. Yeah, you can't afford to lose this one. And they're positioning themselves in the middle of the map because for that specific reason. And here it is. The attempt to get the boss. The Hardos, they're forcing Gunnars on to react. They're forcing a reaction. Boss, yes, no. Who takes it? Already silenced. They try to go for me. Big damage. Big damage from both of them. But they take the shots. The shots are claimed. And the core goes down to 10 points. 6 to 10. Level 23 against level 22. Woo. Woo. Altar in the middle. That's going to be the next one. It's a classic already. Let's go. Oh boy. Who's going to make the big play now? 54 hits on the level 1 for Vala. 54 stacks for her. That is solid damage and the start. They go for the pumpkins. Here comes the engage. They take the first camp. They're trying to go again for Bad Benny. He's already silent. Needs to move out here. Needs to move out quickly. Goes for the avalanche. There's the old good damage. Good damage against Poik. Whoopi doesn't care too much about it. Breeze also moving out. Pumpkins at the bot lane. Altar announced. It's going to come down to the wire here. 6 points to 10. They are trying to go for the next camp. The Vikings still controlling the bot lane here. Whoopi is pushing the lane out, and they're also going for the next camp. Seems like they're wrapping around to stop the pumpkins from connecting, and they have to. But that allows the channel. That allows the channel. 5 shots fired. 5 to 6. The blue team has taken the lead again. The blue team has taken the lead once more. 8 kills to 7. 6 kills to 5. They can't die though. They can't die. It's still anyone's game to take. They have the lead now, but still, this isn't over. This isn't over. A kill or 2 and the Hardos are back in it. They try and isolate Breeze here. One ult after another from Hanzo. And the Vikings are pushing the middle. The Vikings are pushing the middle. They need to keep an eye on Poik. The double support is doing wonders for them here, but here comes the move. Oh, can they go for Benny? Copenhagen! No! Copenhagen! The nerves of steel doesn't use the bunker. He doesn't bunker up in that situation. He was so close. He's like, guys, I got this. I got this. Don't you worry. Whoopi has been pressuring the mid lane in the meantime. 8 kills to 7. 130,000 damage for Hanzo. But Vala's catching up. Vala is catching up. She's sitting at 107,000 damage. They're moving to the top again. Double altar. And nobody can end. Not as it stands. They can exchange the shots. But this might be it. Can they get the kill here? Lunara! Lunara is dead. Big ult from Hanzo, but Lunara is down. Bad Benny gets burnt by the barbecue. Big barbecue play by Diablo. Everybody is invited and may accept it. Here comes Poik, he gets stunned, but they don't give a shit anymore. This has to be game. This just simply has to be it. Yes, Breeze is low. Who gives a shit? They go for the channel. I have no idea why they go for the Divine Shield. I think they can't. Honestly, yeah, they have it. Yeah. There we go. Guys, it's over. They take it. GG and well done. Gunnars on with the first point on the board. Now we're talking! Game number 4. At this point, Garden of Terror is our map. And maybe, just maybe, we're gonna go the full distance on this one. But we're jumping the gun here. The Hardos are obviously still in the lead. But boy, that last game. The Vikings with a 100% win rate now. And Poik with the arrow build Vala. Much more successful than when he tried to use the auto attack style that we see most of the time. Now, with Garden of Terror being one of the biggest maps in the pool, I think we're going to see Globus banned out very, very quickly. Dehaka, I mean, they have to ban Dehaka. There it is. And I think there's a good chance that Falstad gets banned too. Main has already started to play it quite a lot, so if you are worried about Globus, and I think you should be, then this would be a good ban. That being said, we just saw the Vikings. So we could still see the Vikings being played. And the thing is, not only by Gunnars on, it could actually be that the Hardos are looking at this and is like, hey, we have this Hazu guy, and like, he's, you know, he played like Warcraft 3 and StarCraft 2, like he's an RTS boy. He's played a lot of Vikings as well. He's like really good with that macro stuff. So maybe we should do that. So yeah. There's the Anubarak ban against Breeze again. And let's go. I'm a bit curious if anybody... okay, they banned Junkrat. Vikings are up and Falstad are up. Just saying. Both of them are still available. Brightwing gets taken immediately. Also adds, of course, a bit of a global component to all of this. But I want to see if there is a bit of a twist to this. Is there going to be a curveball that one of the teams is going to throw or not? Yeah, they want to. Come on. I know they want to do it. You know they want to do it. Let's just go for it, guys. Let chaos reign. Lunara and Varian. That's not what I was looking for. That's not what I was looking for at all. Lunara and Varian. Not bad. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying this is a bad combo. But it's not quite what I was hoping for here, so yeah. Okay, so we got Hazo. There's the Falstad pick. I'm not gonna lie, I expected Falstad to be taken by Mena. But they let it slide. Hazu takes it. I mean, Hazu was for the longest time also known as a Falstad player. And I mean, not as someone that can play Falstad, but that played Falstad a ton. That was back in the days, though, when Blackheart's Bay was still in a competitive map pool. I mean, I tell this little anecdote where he decided multiple games on Blackheart's Bay just single-handedly in their favor because of his positioning and the gust that he was able to throw out to just initiate some disengages. But, well, as it stands, we get Stukov banned. It's kind of amazing that it took this long for Stukov to have a part in this draft. And a big chunk because of that is simply because it's Garden of Terror. But alright, so we got our next 2 picks. I mean, Whoopi hasn't picked yet, I'm just saying. But we are not going to get that global that I expected for the team. Not with Main on Lunara. Deckard Kane and Urel. Okay, so Varian Urel. Quick taunt into Deckard Kane, follow up, I suppose. And then the question, what is Poik going to play? A little bit more damage would definitely serve them well here. It's not going to be a Vikings pick for the Hardos either. No Viking, no Slug. I'm a little bit disappointed, but just a little bit. Like, generally, this is going to be good either way. Mirrodin and Hanzo. Nick is just... I mean, honestly, he has a Hanzo subscription. Nick has a Hanzo subscription. 4th game in a row now that he plays Hanzo. I don't even know about the previous series that they played, if he also locked in Hanzo there that much. But yeah, his stats for the tournament will definitely show a lot of Hanzo. Okay, so Poik. And what are we getting? I mean, even the Greymane would be nice. Something that can do a bit more damage towards the camps. Okay, they gave my F. Well, with that, we're set for map number 4, everybody. Garden of Terror, 4th map in the series. Let's see which team takes it. Game number 4, Gunnars on against the Hardos. The blue team finally put a point onto the scoreboard. On the left side, we got Mena on Lunara, Whoopi on Urel. This might actually be the first time that they play Lunara in the playoffs. Not quite sure, but could be. Breeze on Varian, we got Smexy on Deckard Kane, and Poik is playing by F. On the right side of the map, though, we got the Hardos with Hardos on Falstad, we have Bad Benny on Murden, Copenhagen on Hogger, Yasu's playing Brightwing for the team, and Nick on Hanzo, as they're of course trying to lock in the victory in this best of 5 and move on to the next round. Yeah, off we go. We got the stacking on level 1 for the birdie. The taunts are going to be hugely important here. If Breeze has some decent engagements that can be followed up on, then they might get those kills against heroes like Brightwing, Falstad, even Hogger. The thing is that if Maiev can follow up with a good tether on Breeze's engage, they have the damage there with Lunara and also the additional control through the slows. So there's definitely quite a bit that they can do here to just isolate a target, take it down, and then try and snowball the fight from there. But with a lot of globals and also very good control over mercenary camps, the Hardos could really decide to play this very heavily focused on macro. Not if Hazo ints though. So yeah, Hazo is immediately moving in there, needs to be a bit careful with this. But as I already said, once that we are in a position where the map opens up a bit, where the forts, for example, fall, where you have just more room to work with, we have Brightwing as a global, we have Falstad as a global for the red team, and in addition to that, you have Hogger, who can do exactly this shit right here. He can control the camps very, very quickly. And this is the map in the pool that has the most mercenary camps. So if you control them, and you claim them time and time again, you can pressure every single lane simply through camp pressure. And then of course you have the globals on top of that too. So there's definitely a lot that can be done by the red team in the mid and late game. As it on the other hand stands for now, we are going to wait for that level 4. Because once the taunt is in, it becomes a question of how aggressive Gunnars on wants to be with it. Will be at the top with Urel. I just don't see big kills against him happening. They're trying to drop him with 3. It's not a thing. Taking Wooby down in a situation like this when he plays Urel is going to be more than a bit tricky. So we'll see if they can pull that off eventually, but at least for the time being, he should be absolutely fine topside. Urel has a lot of mobilities, has also enough tools to create some space for herself. But of course they can still push the wall, and that's exactly what they're doing right now. They're using the camp that they took earlier, they push the wall. Wooby, while he is staying alive, he cannot really do a whole lot. He slows them down a bit, but eventually he's either going to need help or that wall is going to fall. Now they can go for some counter damage, and they're already starting to do that at the bottom of the map now, with Mene trying to burn the entire gate down. The taunt is ready, and while Wooby is still playing against 2, he's losing the entire setup here. Now, is that really worth it? That's the question, because down here they just don't do as much structural damage, so at least for the time being they haven't been able to do enough. But maybe with a tether, there's a kill. No! What? Brightwing! Yasu, you god! Seriously. Yasu is sometimes just insane. The timing on Brightwing was impeccable. But then there's still the kill on Muradin. This time though they got the counter kill on Maiev, so she's dead too. A kill for a kill as we're heading into this 4th game. And that's gonna be... this is gonna be a really interesting one. Especially if we're ending up in a late game scenario, this could be pretty cool. The teamfight potential around Breeze and the lineup that they're playing is very strong. But then of course, as mentioned before, the question becomes what's happening in the macro game. Yeah, Smexy, alright, gets attacked by Hazu here. Nick is moving in too. Most of the damage got dodged out, and Mene gets some good damage out, especially against the birdie. I had no idea that Bambi is a carnivore. Yeah, apparently, like honestly, I always thought that Bambi is a vegetarian, but apparently she wants chicken. And she gets Hanzo first. Hanzo is down, Bad Benny gets tethered, jumps back out, but they are suffering at the bot lane a bit. Now they are also starting to lose the wall here, so that pressure play from Gunnars on is finally paying dividends. Entire wall falls, and they can take the fountain too. And Urel has found a Pogger. They got 1 seed, by the way, already, so Gunnars on is slightly ahead on the seeds. And goodbye, Fountain. The last hit by Poik. Comes in for an easy last hit on this one. Level 8, a little bit ahead even. A level 7 talent for both of the teams now, and each of them has now 1 seed. Maiev is just a hero, honestly, that puts the fear in your heart every single time that you see her approach. And Nick is on and he's like, yeah, I think I'm out of here. I'm not gonna risk that. If Maiev comes in and hits the tether and then all of a sudden Varian appears out of nowhere and drops the taunt, then this is just gonna be a little bit too much for me to handle. Talking about too much to handle, Whoopi is realizing that he's gonna get some company, and everybody on the blue team is now slowly rotating towards the top, but it doesn't seem that the Hardos were willing to take that fight after all. So yeah, they move back out. And I can understand that completely, because they are a little bit farther away from level 10. Benny, again with the jump out. Brightwing once more ready for the save, so that was alright. And the next seed is up. There's the level 10. It's time to party. Deckard Kane. Yeah, he wants to go for the ult as well. And yeah, Smexy. I always knew that Smexy is identifying as an old man. Old man on the pick, by the way. But yeah, they got the level 10. They're likely going to get that seed, but they're already zoning this out completely. And look at this. We have again the meme strike for Nick. So no arrows here. Ooh, that wave didn't go anywhere. Fallset is now flying in, trying to go for a gust, and this time it actually hits. So they're trying to go for... Oh, they're not trying to go for Maiev. They are going for Maiev. And they are crushing her, and Breeze might be second on the menu. Deckard Kane, oh, stay a while and listen. Back when I was young, we didn't have CDs. None of this new shit. We had to sing ourselves. Breeze is dead. No, he's not. Alright. So yeah, they are at least able to save Breeze. But that was a nice kill to be picked up by the Hardos. And Hazu, when he initially flew in, I was like, yeah, he's a little bit late to the party. But then, whoop, barrel roll, gust, and gone. Easy. And Hogger, pok. Entire time here. Talking about old man, guys, again, like, my personal goal in life is to, at some point in my life, have, like, either a house or an apartment that's, like, on the 3rd floor. And it has to be on the 3rd floor, 3rd or 4th. I can go either way. 2nd, I think, is a little bit too low, but one of the two. Fruit Fly is also dead, by the way. And, you know, then you sit just, like, you just relax half the day, and you just sit, ooh. These plays, I mean, the last gust was great. This one was a bit questionable. But you know, you just sit there at your window and you're just looking outside and you're just pissing off everybody that is younger than you and just walks past the window, and you're just gonna tell them old man stories about your youth, and you're telling them, back in my day, we would have been ashamed. We had respect for the elder. Not like this shit that you guys listen to. Is like, You have to be on the 3rd floor at least, because if you're on the 2nd floor, they're just going to throw shit at you. So 3rd floor or 4th floor, it's the only thing they can do. That's going to be glorious. I'm going to sit there just nagging everybody all day, every day. It's going to be great. Couple of snacks at the side, you know, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's a great dream. It's a great dream. A man can dream! Yeah, Gunnars on is dreaming too. Gunnars on is dreaming of garden terrors right now. So here comes the kill, and it is Maiev that falls. Gunnars on with a play attempt, but the Hardos move in first. They got the shockwave connected, and that ends Maiev. Easily done at a 2nd kill against Urel. I guess those garden terrors are not going to grace us anytime soon. That seed is definitely going to be claimed by them. I have no idea why Breeze thought it was a great idea to come in and interrupt again. They're not going to stall this out forever. That's just not happening. He can't die there. They need to be really, really careful. So, yeah. But either way, we got 13 against 12 now. They're still pretty close in experience. It's a bit more map control towards the top side by the Hardos, as they can take additional camps. And of course, this could still be the last map. For Gunnars on to move on to the next round of the losers bracket, they need to win 2 in a row now. And they need to start here with Garden of Terror. But there's also the engage in the middle. Where's that taunt? There it is! That's an easy kill. Nicely done. Yeah, Hazu, he did not see that one coming. Not even a little bit. Quick stun, quick taunt, and that was that. So, with... Oh, stay a while and listen. Get wrecked. That was a great engage. But not enough damage. And, oh, all these plays! Nick is just capitalizing with his fucking meme strike on all of this shit over and over again. Poik is on the run, just trying to get out. Nick! Oh! Damn, they are getting so close here. But the Garden Terrors are going to be claimed now by the Hardos. But boy, we are getting some sweet plays here on both sides. And Nick's meme strike is just getting mad value for them. Even on Tomb of the Spider Queen, I mean, all of these arrows that he used, some of them are not even meant to do a whole lot of damage. They're simply meant to divide the team into two parts. And he does it really well. Now, Hazu and Nick, they're a little bit low, so they gotta be careful here. Bambi is doing work with that poison. Yeah, all that toxic femininity right there. One acid drop after another. And at the same time, now that the Garden Terrors are doing... I mean, guys, I don't even know why they're focusing so heavily on the mid lane. Have you looked at the top lane? Hello, team! Half a level until 16. Sometimes somebody needs to deal with that. Bambi is now coming in once again with the damage over time and dropping all of this. Yeah, and at the bottom of the map, it seems like they're going to lose another fort. So they also suffered some damage in the mid lane. Now the same is going to happen at the bottom, but the chase is on. They're trying to go for Wooby. They want some goat cheese. And Wooby doesn't want to give them any. We have a goat, we got a deer, we got a bird in the game. I guess Hogger's a dog. And we have a fruit fly. This is a zoo. This is a total zoo. Yeah. 16 is in. And we're gonna get it for both sides in a moment. Because Gunnars on is getting close. 4 to 5. How is that thing still alive, by the way? The Web Weaver at the bot lane is still alive, everybody, and doing some work. But Mane is taking it down. And, well, I think they're going to take down Muradin too, aren't they? Jesus, these arrows, like, what the hell? Again, did you see this? They all clustered up for Benny, and then Nick comes in, says, like, YOLO, and just drops them. They kill Varian, they kill Lunara, and he just turned the entire fight on his head. Are you kidding me? I mean, seriously? How is Nick getting so much value out of this ult every single time? And I'm always looking at it and I'm asking myself, would an arrow do the same thing here for them? And in most of the cases, the answer is just a simple no. It's amazing to me, by the way, that the old man hasn't died yet. 2 years of active social distancing really taught Smexy how to position himself in these teamfights, I think. Hasn't died once yet. Always far enough away from the action. There's the tether. God, they have such a good combo. The aggression that we can see from the blue team is fantastic, but the way that the Hardos are playing around it is just better. This is exactly the kind of game that I absolutely love. You have one team that has an incredible, powerful composition. They're playing it well. They're engaging time and time again to get that one kill in. But then on the other side, the opponent, they know exactly what's coming. They're waiting for it. They're trying to play around it. They use the positioning properly. And then we have always the Shockwave, the Mighty Gust, or the Dragon's Arrow from Hanzo, just preventing all of that action. Another seed coming in now. And, well, at this point, they could go for some Garden Terrors themselves. So, maybe? Can they get a kill? Oh, Muradin. Hogger! Hogger! Yeah, there it is. Finally they get a kill. Finally they get one. Falso was still at the bottom of the map. No Gust available. And that is Terror time. The problem is... look where these lanes are. Those Garden Terrors. They're gonna push some lanes out and that's pretty much it. Like, if they arrive at the fort, then great, but they're not gonna do a whole lot. Garden Terror at the top is pretty much spawning at base, and the same is happening at the bottom. I mean, here it's literally at the keep. So I suppose it helps them at least to defend the lanes a little bit, but they're not gonna get a lot of damage done, are they now? The bottom fort has fallen a bit previously. In the middle, they might do some work. But now that Hazu burns down that Garden Terror like it's nothing, they can easily take that down. So, yeah. That's that. Top side. It's probably their best bet. Urel isn't here, by the way. Urel is at the bot lane. So they are pressuring 2 lanes at once. They try to get back in experience. That's the problem for them. They just want to get level 20. If they were 20 already, both teams were level 20, there's no way Urel is still at the bottom of the map. But they need the XP. They need the experience. 52,000 damage by Hanzo. He's literally doubling Lunara's damage output. Double the damage, double the fun. Yep, half level until 20. Now they get pressured, but they're not losing this yet. And any kill. Whoopi sitting at the side just waiting for someone to engage here. Smexy still the only one in the game that hasn't died yet. 20 is so close. They can't stay here for too long. They want the fountain and they're gonna get the fountain. The fountain is down. Fountain is down. So they get the fountain, but here's the level 20. Oh, wind tunnel and the cooldown reduction for that bloody arrow. Stormbolt misses. Falstad, he's not flying. That's the one thing that they could have done to try and force that fight. If Falstad flies, then maybe. Now they have to soak half a level. Brightwing with the invisible friends, the only kind of friends that Brightwing will ever have. The invisible ones, the imaginary ones. And they try to get the keep. Waka daka daka. There goes Hanzo. They zone it out and they gotta move away. So close. Urella's at the top. They get it. They get it. They get the keep. 20 or no 20, I don't care. If they just poke a little bit and get Brightwing into the action, then they can take it. And yes, that keep is gone. Great play by the Hardos here. Guys, I admit, it's not as kill-heavy as other maps, and obviously, since this is a big map, it plays out just a bit differently. Maybe not as many fights as we've seen in the previous games. But it's just awesome to see how they're always playing around decent engages, how they're trying to position themselves properly before the fights start. It's going to be the first seed, so it's not going to be that important. But oh, there's the taunt and the kill! Well done. Great play this time. That was just absolutely on point. They come in, they make the call, and then Mene is able to just double jump on Hanzo. Nick getting caught there was unfortunate for the red team, but it was also a really nice decision made by Gunnars on. So perfect setup for them. They get the kill, and they didn't even have to use a whole lot of their ults. It was Whoopi who sets it up in the first place, so great for him. But there we go. There's the move now at the bot lane. Question is, of course, how far can they go with this? Can they, for example, take the bottom keep down? I guess I'll answer that for you. The answer is no. But at some point, you have to win the big fight and then try and push some of the structures. So yeah, respect the elderly for Deckard Cain. Topside pressure is now also coming in with another camp that has been claimed. And they need to send someone up there. Poik already sitting at the side. Whoopi is going to try and do the same thing. Look at the Whoopster. There he is. Does he see him? Nah, he's not in vision. That could turn quickly against him if he was. So yeah, Benny's moving in now too. But boy, boy, boy. It always feels like any second, if you don't check a bush, if you move into the wrong spot, just turn the wrong direction, you could get slapped down, and then we're gonna have a big, big lead, maybe a chase for the big team fight, and the game is going to swap. Now there's still 2 forts standing for the Hardos, let's not forget about those, so structurally they are massively ahead. But it's about the team fights now, and we are talking level 21 versus 21, both with even talents here. First seed for the Hardos, if they get it, and indeed they do. They're controlling the camps now, and Jesus, they are playing it so patient. And as time continues, the catapults, of course, become stronger and stronger and stronger, which currently favors the Hardos. So for them, this is just much better. They're sitting topside right now. They take the siege giants down. They've done actually a very nice job controlling the mercenary camps. So from their perspective, this is not too bad. 19 minutes in, catapults are doing well. Hazo takes some of these walls down to limit vision. And talking about vision, there we go. It's a party bush. Okay, Benny! Benny! No, he's not gonna die to this. They're all here, and Urel isn't. There's the... Yeah, get wrecked. Get wrecked. Breeze is dying as well. The wind tunnel was just too good. Great play. It was a 4 versus 5. They saw Benny. They thought they had a chance there, and they didn't. Poik is trying to make his way out of the battle. Urel at the same time slowing them down a little bit. And as Urel is trying to escape, let's take another quick look at that last fight. Oh boy. They saw an opportunity here and then it just turns against him. Look at that Gust. Look at the Gust coming in. Gust from the side as the arrow comes through. The lockdown, Breeze dies. Now Whoopi gets caught too and dies. 10 kills, 2-6. But yep, that bush turned against them. And that is likely going to be it, isn't it? Uh-oh, that is bad news for Gunnars on the Hardos. With 10 kills, 2-6, they are trying to end the game. They're going for the core. They want to move on to the next round of the tournament. They want to have their rematch against the Chili Donuts, and they're going to get it. They kill Maiev, and that is going to be the end of the road for Gunnars on. They come in 4th place at the X Cup Fall Playoffs as the red team right-clicks the core and ends the game. A 3-1 victory for the Hardos over Gunnars on at the X Cup Fall Playoffs. GG, well played.
Thank you everybody for watching the video today. I hope that you enjoyed the show and the commentary. And keep in mind that the spoiler protection that is going to run for the rest of the video is made possible by all the support on patreon.com. So guys, if you want to support my work, if you want to help me start new projects and keep the spoiler protection in place, please consider heading over to patreon.com/Khaldor. There's also a link in the YouTube description and check that out. Thanks in advance and see you guys next time with more esports coverage here on Khaldor TV. Have a great day.